Okay, so let's look at viewing and reading our email messages. We've got a few things I want to show you with all this. If you've at least used the program in the past, I mean, and you've used it before watching this video, one of the things that you might run into, or one of the bad habits you might run into, is you'll have a list of all your email messages here. And you'll notice that some of them are bolded and some aren't. And the ones that are bolded are the ones that haven't been read yet. So the minute I, let's say, click on to Kate Farms over here, now there that one is. And then when you click off of it, then it's marked as read. I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to go back there again. There we go. So it's marked as read on that one, right? Now, once in a while, some of your new email messages that you didn't get around to reading are going to get further and further, pushed down here. So it's kind of easy to lose, not really losing them, but you lose sight of them, and then you get in trouble because you didn't read somebody's message or something, right? So what you can do is there's a little button right up here. We got the all and we got the unread, and actually what you can do is if you click on unread, it will only display those email messages that haven't been read yet, right? So if I go and click onto a few of these, and I can go back to all, and then go back to unread, then I'm back to having more messages. So that's pretty cool. All right, it's a real simple little tool there. So you go and click onto a message. Let's say this one here, and then of course you've got reply buttons and everything up here to reply to the message after you get done reading it. So now, what else can we do? I mean, what other kind of views do we have? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't particularly like the way this looks right now. I don't like this thing here called the reading pane. I know a lot of people do. You got big screens. It's great. You can just click onto it, and you can just kind of read message after message. But maybe because I'm just old school, I don't really like it that way. I like it where a little window will pop up, like I'll double click the message. There's the window and all that. So I'm going to show you some other ways of viewing your mail here. Now, one of the things that I don't like about this, with this reading pane, is that if I click onto an email by mistake, let's say I click onto this one right here, right? And I go, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go over here. Well, it marked that as read. I might forget that I had done that or didn't even realize I did that. And now later on, I look back at my email and say, okay, I just have these emails to read, and you blew this one right off, all right? So if you want to use this, this view, but you find that to be troubling, what we can actually do is set it up so where when you click onto the message here, it won't be marked as read as long as you hop over it or hop off of it within, let's say, 5 seconds or whatever the default is, all right? Now to see that, to set that up, what you do is you go up here into the View tab, all right? And over on the right side, you've got the reading pane. We would click onto that, and we would go over here to the Options, all right? And from here, you'd say, okay, I want to mark it as read only if I've been on it for more than 5 seconds, or whatever number you want to put in there, all right? All right, so what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and we'll mark that. I'll hit OK, all right? Now watch this. I'll click on Kate, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatever. There it goes. See that? Now if I click onto this one here, and then I go do, and I hop off of it, it's not marked as read. That's pretty cool. The other thing that you have in here as well is that you can actually tell that you want to put the reading pane maybe at the bottom, all right? So now there it is there. Here you have this up here. So here are your messages line by line, and then you got this down here. I think that's kind of a crazy thing because I think that's what you're really trying to avoid, is having to scroll a lot, right? So not a really good thing. Now, for what we're going to be doing in this class, or not this class, I guess this video or this series of videos, I really don't want to be in that reading pane view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the reading pane here and just hit off, and that takes me back to just the, I would say, like the normal view. What I like about this view is that we have more fields in here so that I can see, so I can actually kind of move this stuff around here. and I can see categories and flags and stuff. Well, we're going to be talking about those later on. But you've got all that in there, and you don't really see that when you go to the reading pane. So you got that reading pane on the right side there. It cuts off a lot of that stuff, or condenses or whatever. It just makes it kind of tight, all right? And so that's what I don't like about it. So anyway, so let's say you're in this situation, okay? And you say, okay, fine. How do I read my mail now? Well, in this case, what you do is you just kind of point to the message, you double click it, it opens up into its own little window, right? And you can read it. And at that point then, you can, we got a reply button right there. Makes it easy to get back there. You can also hit reply up here. Doesn't really matter, but you got that as well. Oh. So the point of the matter is, okay, so you got this up here, right? So now, let's say you did reply, fine, did that, and now you go on to the next, then you say, okay, now I'm going to go to the next message. So it's a little bit of a pain, it might seem, right? But here's what you can do too. You get done reading this, maybe you reply to it, opens up another window, and off it goes, right? You write your reply, you send it off, and then you're back to this window. Unless, of course, remember in the beginning when I showed you in the personalized settings where it would make this one disappear. Once you hit reply, this window goes away, you got your reply window, hit send, and now the window's closed, and then you got to go back in the background there and double click the next one. If you didn't have that turned on, where it made this disappear, and you say, okay, now I'm done with this, do I have to then close this window and then have to go back in there and double click the next one? No, because what you can do is up here at the top on the quick access toolbar, we have this down arrow and up arrow. So what happens, I'm just going to kind of move this over so you can see this. Like right now we're on this message right here. I hit the down arrow, right? It goes to the next message, that one right there, see? I go to the next one and the next one. See, so I can go through each one of them just by doing that. But like I said before, when you've got this window open and you say, oh, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reply, let's say, right? Well, you hit that reply, and what happens is then you might get this, you might say, do you want to have the external content? I'll just say yes. Now, there it is. Now, what happened was the original window that you had opened to read that email is now gone because of that setting we had before. And this is where you go ahead and you type in your response, and then when you're all done, sorry about that. When you're all done, then you'd go ahead and you, let me just get back in there again. Okay, so you get done typing. When you're done, you'd hit send, and off it would go. And then, of course, then you'd come back here and double click the next one. So that might be kind of a pain, but again, if you're just not much for that window being on the far right there and being kind of tight, this might be the alternative. Now, what you can also do is when you're in this type of mode here, in the View tab, we have something here called Message Preview. And right now it's set to be off. But if you go and you change, let's say up to, I'll just do 3 lines here. You click on the 3 lines, hit all mailboxes. That means all your mailboxes. That's what this is, basically. It will show the first 3 lines of each of the messages. So in essence, it's almost like having like the reading pane. You're not seeing everything, but at least you get an idea of what's in there and whether or not you really need to open it or not to read it, right? So that's pretty cool. Now, if you decide that you don't, want it anymore, then what you can do is just go back there, hit off, hit all mailboxes, and you're back to square one. Now, there's another little thing here, and that is when you read a message, I do this all the time. I'll open up a message, I'll read it, all right, and then I'll close it, whatever. And now it's marked as unread. Or marked as read. So it's no longer blue and bold. It's just non-bolded black or gray. So the deal is, you might say to yourself, well, I need to come back to that later on and answer the email or do something. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make it look like it hasn't been read yet. That way it'll get my attention, later on when I need to, do something with it. So what you can do then is if you click onto that, do a right click, there's an M on here called Mark as Unread. You can click onto that, and now it's marked as unread. So I can go to this one here, right-click it, mark as unread. You can also, I mean, that's pretty simple, but you can also click onto it, go to your Home tab, all right, and over here towards the middle, you have something here called Read or Unread Read, right? So you click onto that, and that'll do the same thing. I think by the time you go up there, have to click that, have to go way over here and click it, I can just do a right-click and do it pretty fast. So that's my take. Now I want to kind of turn our attention towards something called conversations. Now, a conversation is when you put together an email that has some sort of a subject to it. So in this case, let's say this one right here, the upside for frustrated workers, right? Now, that email is an email, obviously, but it's also a conversation. And at this point, what's happened is that LinkedIn there, or whoever, has sent me an email, and I go ahead and I reply to it, let's say, and then they reply back to me. I reply again. They reply. You've had emails like that where you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, each time it goes back and forth, you're getting a new email, all right? And you might want to get to a point where you want to be able to group all of your emails together in conversations. In other words, one conversation, the conversation of the upside to frustrated workers, right? That's one conversation. And there might be 4 or 5 different emails that you've received, going back and forth, with this person. And they're going to be scattered. This would be the most recent. And then the older they are, the further down the list they're going to be, because it's all in chronological order. So your thought is, how can I pull all those together, right? Well, one way would be, maybe, you might think, that you could click on to the subject up here, right? And if you click onto that, what happens is it'll group all of your emails by subject. The problem that you're going to run into with that is, and you've probably noticed this before, I'm going to go back to being received here. What you'll notice is that when somebody replies to your email, it's going to be RE : and then the subject line, right? And then it gets replied again to and sent back to you. Now you end up getting an RE, and then the upside of frustrated workers. Therefore, if we're sorting it by subject, those are going to be different subject lines, even though they are the same conversation, right? They're going to be different subject lines, and therefore they're not going to be grouped together, all right? So we have a tool that we can turn on that will bring them all together because it knows the original subject line, even if it's been changed or changed automatically like I was just describing, or maybe somebody just changes the subject line when they did a reply back, right? So the deal with it, or to deal with all that, we can use a feature called Conversations. Now what that is if you go back into the View tab, right, there's something here called Show as Conversations, right? Now you click onto that, put a little check mark in there, and you say All Mailboxes. Now I'm not sure if I even have that many conversations going on here, but we'll see. Click on the All Mailboxes, and there we go. Now what happens is you'll end up getting, it'll kind of shift the screen over a little bit, but you'll see these little arrowheads, I guess, right? And you scroll down, you'll see a number of them in there, right? Well, those are basically our conversation groups. So these didn't have any conversation. This has. So if I go and click onto that, it shows me all of the emails that had to do with that particular original conversation, or that latest conversation there. If I go further down, all right, got this one here. Let me find this one here. This one here, this would be a good one. Click on it here, all right. That gives me a few, right? I just don't have too many. I don't have many conversations, you guys. But there we go. So that's it. So pretty neat. Even if you have put some of these emails of the conversation into other folders, because you're so well organized, it will still pull them out of there temporarily to show you here. I mean, they'll still be in there as well, but they'll be here as two, you know. And then later on, when you're done looking at this, you don't want to work with it anymore, then all you have to do is you go back into view, take the conversations off, and say all mailboxes, and now you're back to square one. Now, something kind of related to all that, we're going to find over here in the Home tab. Now, imagine this. You have an email that you originally replied to. They reply back to you. You reply back to them. They reply back to you. And let's say there's a lot of people involved. So it's not just you in that conversation. There's maybe 10 other people with the same conversation. All right. I mean, they're all in there on the email. So it's all going back and forth, back and forth. And you get to a point where you say, you know what? I want out. Okay, I don't want to get these emails anymore on this particular subject. I'm tired of it. They're not even going to notice I'm gone, that I'm missing, right? So how do you do that? How do you ignore it? Well, what you'll do is when you go to the Home tab, in the delete area here, this very first one, it says ignore conversation. Now what happens is you'll first of all find the conversation. I'm just going to pretend. I'm going to pretend that this was the latest in an email, you know, going back and forth of the conversation. So that says your order will soon arrive. Okay, we've been going back and forth on this, right? So I want out. All right. So what you do is you click on the latest email, like I said, and then you'll click on to this button right here called Ignore Conversation, right? It'll say that the selected conversations and all future messages will be moved to delete items folder. So what happens is now, I'll say Ignore Conversation. That email has been thrown into my deleted items folder here, okay? And now, but any other ones that you had further down here, they're still there. But this latest one that you clicked onto, it now gets deleted, all right? And any future emails that come in on that same subject will automatically be diverted from your inbox into your deleted items folder. And that's it. So life goes on, all right? If you're curious as to some of the other emails that you might have been missing out on because you said I want to ignore them, you can always go to the delete items folder here, all right, and then you'll see all the emails, right? You'll see this one, maybe you'll see another one, and so forth. Now, if you get to a point where you say, you know what, I want to get back in on the conversation. In other words, I don't want the future emails to get diverted into my deleted items folder. I just want to kind of turn that feature off. So what you do is you click on the email, all right, that let's say the latest, right? And then you'll see up here that button is still kind of depressed in there. It's grayed out, or it's grayed. So you say, okay, so I'll click onto it, click onto there. It says, do you want to stop ignoring this conversation? And I say, yeah, stop ignoring it. It will pull that one as well as the other ones that were in there as well. Now you go back to your inbox and go back up to the top and wherever it's at here, whichever one it was there. And that's it. That's how you do that. Now let's talk about one more thing with this. You know, in those situations where you've got email going back and forth, you've got conversations that have maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 emails on them, right? So it might be that this was the most latest one, but then you have this one, which are the previous or the predecessors to that, of that conversation, right? So what we want to do is we want to click on the latest email and have it delete everything but that latest one, because you figure the latest one has all these other ones accumulated into it, right? I mean, when this one comes in and then this one comes in, this one has what that one has plus anything new, and on and on. And eventually that's what you have here. So you're not going to really lose anything other than, I will say, if you have attachments, then obviously you're going to lose those, but you shouldn't be using your email as a disk drive or a storage area for your attachments. You should be detaching those attachments, put them on your system somewhere, but get them off of the email, and and that way then you can delete these things. Anyway, so what we want to do is something called a cleanup, and that all that means is that it'll take the most recent email of the conversation, all right, and keep that, but delete all of the other ones, all right? So the way this would work is we would go back into the Home tab here. We're already there. And you'd click on whatever that email was, right? We'll pretend like it's this one here. And then you go to the second icon here, which is the cleanup. Now, when you click it, it says cleanup conversation, meaning the email that we're on, that conversation, all right? Great. So you do that, and I click it. It would say, all redundant, I want to clean up. And if that was of a conversation, then my most recent, then all the other ones are going to be deleted, right? No messages were cleaned up. Yeah, no kidding. Because that didn't have any conversations. I just had one email, right? But there you go. You can see it's working at least, right? Now, what you can also do is if you say, well, I'd like to do that for everything I got here. I might have 10,000 emails in here, and there's maybe 50 different conversations with 100 emails each in them, right? I want to clean everything up. How do I do that? Well, then what you would do is you go back. You could be on any of the emails. You click onto here, and you say, I want to clean up the folder, meaning the inbox. Or you could say, clean up the folder and subfolders. I mean, clean up everything. So if you've got a whole series of inboxes, or I'm sorry, of folders that you're storing your mail in, it just goes throughout the whole thing and deletes any multiple emailed conversation situations. It will get rid of everything but the most recent. Very, very cool feature. A lot of people don't feel comfortable doing that because they feel like they're going to start losing stuff. But it's your call. All right. I think if anything, just keeping in mind that you should be detaching your attachments, then if you're doing that, then there's nothing you're going to lose, all right? Because like I said, it's all forwarding. You're getting what was in the last email on the most recent, right? Plus whatever the new information was. Okay, so hopefully that'll help you. Now, I want to just change gears just a little bit and talk about going back to the original premise of reading our messages. If you've ever gotten an email from somebody and it's all like in a foreign language, whatever it is, right? Doesn't happen often, but it's in a foreign language. How do you read that message, all right? Or maybe it comes in English or whatever, and you want to translate it into, let's say, I don't know, French or Arabic or Spanish or German, all right? Well, we have an excellent tool that will actually translate your email messages into any language you want. Now, if I go, I'll go to this one here. I'll just pick this email out here. Not much going on there. Let's try a different one here. Here's one from my mom. Okay, this is a good one. So there it is, right? So that's it. All right, great thing. All right, now what I want to do is I want to translate this into a different language. Why, I don't know, but I do. Just pretend like it's a situation where you're sitting there and you got this email from my mom and she sent it to you in English and you're sitting there saying, I can't read English. I'm Spanish. I need I need it in Spanish or German or something, right? So what do? Well, in the message tab, all right, at the far end, you'll see something here called Translate Message, all right? And this is the Microsoft Translator. Now watch this. You click onto it. It opens up a panel, all right? Now I just had it set for Arabic for whatever reason, but there it is. Now, I can pull this over, get a little bit more room on it if I need to, but there is this message translated into Arabic. That is pretty cool. All right. Now, what if I don't want Arabic? Well, click on the little drop-down arrow, and I can click on the Africans, all right? And look at that one. That is pretty cool. I'll tell you, this is such a great tool for maybe even learning, you know, a different language with, you know. I can go back in there, I can go down and I've got Chinese. There we go, Chinese. Go back in there, here's Dutch. Dutch is a pretty tough one, all right? So we've got that, all right? Go down a little bit further, we've got Hindi. Unbelievable. Got Hebrew, look at that. And of course we have to have Icelandic, right? Look at that one. Might not be able to pronounce it, but hey, there it is. And the other one that we have in here, we got Polish. Polish is good too. We have, didn't mean that, I lost it there. Well, we got a lot here. I'll just say that. I was looking for one of the languages here, and I can't think of it. Yeah. Well, we got Haitian Creole. That's pretty cool. But I don't know. I think we got enough. We got enough here. I think this will keep most people happy as far as translating. So if I want to go Polska there's my Polska. So pretty cool deal there. I have, let me back in there again, sorry. I have a number of customers and friends of mine that, for whatever reason, they just like to type or send messages to me in their language, which is fine. I mean, I can't, you know, can't say anything about it. But what's cool about that is that they can do it all they want. I can go in here and I can flip it. I can translate it. I can see what they said. And then, of course, then I can reply, you know, to whatever their message was. So pretty cool stuff there. And then you want to get rid of that, you just go ahead and close up the little panel there, and you're back to square one again. So that's pretty cool. Now, finally, I've got one more to show you, and that is a feature called Read Aloud. Okay, so I can actually open up a message, just like that. Oh. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So here's the message, pretty short one, doesn't matter. And in the message tab, there's a button here called Speech, a group called Speech. Now, when you click onto that, there's a choice in there called Read Aloud. You click onto that. All right.
Hello, Chip.
Now, if you can hear it.
My name is Greg Boss, and I was in the basic Excel class you hosted at ECC on Tuesday, March 12th.
Could you please send the two files that we used in class to gboss@huskyetools.com. Thank you. Greg Boss. This email message, including any attachments, is for the sole use of the intended recipient, S, and may contain confidential and proprietary information. Any unauthorized.
And blah, blah, blah. Pretty cool, huh? So if you're sitting there and you don't have your glasses and you need to listen to a message, or it might be a really long email message, and it's like, you know, how about if I just get it read to me? That might be a little better. It's pretty cool. And what you can do too is there's a setting on here, this guy right here for the settings, and click onto that, and you can change the reading speed. So I can turn it way up like that for the speed, and I can go from Microsoft David to Microsoft Zero. How about that one, huh? Now I do that. Now listen to this one.
Greg Boss. This email message, including any attachments, is for the sole use of the intended recipient.
I guess we're going too fast, so I'll slow it down here a little bit. But you can see how that works. That's pretty cool. But now listen to this.
Confidential and proprietary information. Any unauthorized review, use, disclosure, or distribution.
So there you go. Not bad. So great little tool. If you're having trouble with your eyesight or whatever it is, that's a great way to be able to read your emails. Okay, so hopefully, I know this was a long video, but I had a lot to cover there, but hopefully some of these tools will come in handy and you'll be able to use them yourselves. But I appreciate you watching the video. Take care.